Good evening everyone, welcome to Mel TV, where I will be sharing lots of mind hacks, food hacks, everything to do with how to have a good relationship with food. So this series is to help you stop comfort eating or binge eating, and this is the second part of I think it's divided into 3 sections. So we just finished the first section, which is all about priming the mind. I truly 100% believe that you cannot change anything unless you start off with your mind, and that's how I ended up being recovered. I suffered from an eating disorder on and off for over 22 years, and it wasn't until I decided to change my mindset, which is not willpower by the way, that I finally broke free from my eating disorders, and literally pretty much overnight. So today is tip number 1 of the physical tips on how to stop comfort eating and binge eating. So, but before we get on to that, if you haven't seen me before, I am Mel. Hello. A bit delayed reaction there, like a Chinese film. Hello. And I am a rapid transformational therapist. I help, if you don't know what that is, you'll find out in a minute. I help people who struggle with weight loss or eating disorders using an amazing technique called rapid transformational therapy, which basically drills down to our subconscious mind and shortcuts everything. And I basically help people to unlock those beliefs that are blocking them from achieving their goals. And obviously this tool is used for anything that is relating to the mind, and pretty much everything that you see, everything that you do, everything that you live and breathe starts off as a thought, as a belief. So you can imagine all kinds of things that you can do with this technique, and I love it so much. So without further ado, tonight's tip, first tip of the physical tip to stop comfort eating or binge eating, or to just stop eating when you're not hungry. The first part, there's 2 parts of this tip, and the first part talks about motivation. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about motivation is because a lot of people make the mistake thinking that you have to find motivation, and you know, there's motivated people that can do things like being healthy, or there's people that are motivated to do exercise, things like that, but that is a load of nonsense. The word motivation exists, but the word finding motivation and people are motivated is not really, it's kind of an old wives' tale, to be honest, because nobody really wakes up in the morning and go, woohoo, I can't wait to do exercise. Because, well, maybe actually there's probably some people are, but most people, a lot of people who seem to be motivated is because they've trained their mind to get into a habit. And the thing is, because we are wired to go back to default all the time, which is easy, fun, you know, naughty, you know, things like sweets. We're on the default because our biology, even though like times have changed, everything has modernized, we're not living in the wild anymore, we're not being chased by lions, and we're living in the city, most of us, but our biological makeup is still hardwired for survival. So that's why more often than not motivation to do something is not there, because our biological instincts wants to keep us safe and wants to keep us where it's comfortable. And going out for a run and exercises is not comfortable to begin with. You have to train that. And the thing is motivation only comes once you start doing it. So before you get to the point where it's become a habit, where it seems like motivation is there all the time, it doesn't actually start off like that. So before you get to that point, how do we get motivated? And the secret is you have to start to fight for motivation to catch up with you. So for example, with exercise, you don't find motivation before you exercise. It's only when you just started, maybe after the first 5-10 minutes, that motivation just ka-ching, suddenly finds you. And the reason why is like well, actually going back into the motivation as well, one of the rules of our motivation is also the will to do it. And I don't really like that word willpower, because willpower for me is always like this conflict against what you are, like biological makeup, your biological instincts, and what you're trying to force yourself to do. That's what I would describe willpower. But let's say for argument's sake, you want to integrate exercise into your lifestyle. The best thing to do that is first thing in the morning. And the reason why I always suggest, if you can do exercise or do anything, actually, it's not just exercise. The reason why I'm talking about exercise now is because it's relative to what I'm trying to help you with, and in the long run, everything that I talk about is based on the goal of eating healthily. And the reason why I suggest to do exercise is because it helps getting all those happy chemicals throughout your body, and it motivates you to keep healthy, to give you the drive to go for healthy food. So when you start off the day with something like exercise, they've done studies on this, you are more likely to stick to your healthy eating regime or your motivations for the day. And it has such a huge impact. Like if you do exercise first thing in the morning, like before you do anything else, get up an extra half an hour, do your exercise, you'll find everything else falls into place a lot easier. It's like your work, your mindset is all clear. So there's plenty of good reasons, but I'm not really going to go into the details of exercise because I've done that video before, and I'm going to leave a link on this video to that video, because I don't want to get this video too long. Did that just make sense? It didn't make sense for me. But anyway, the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because doing exercise first thing in the morning will help you stay good with your eating regime. And also when you're thinking about willpower or motivation or anything like that, the best thing to do is, if you find anything hard to do, and again I'm talking about comfort eating or binge eating now, to prevent any relapse during the day, start your day on something positive. And that is your exercise. That will get all your endorphins up and dopamine up. This is your happy chemicals going in your head. When you're feeling happy, you're unlikely or less likely to go and sabotage that by eating unhealthily. The other thing is also, first thing in the morning, motivation and willpower is at its strongest for the majority of people. I've done lots of studies on this, done loads of research, and the majority of people have willpower or the most motivation first thing in the morning. However, it is like worse than the Titanic. Honestly, you wake up in the morning and it's literally a sinking ship. The more the time is ticking by, the motivation is going down. So this is a really typical motivational tip. So you can do this with anything. So if you've got like a really like awful phone call to make, or you want to say sorry to someone that you've had an argument with, or you want to do something really you don't like doing, first thing in the day is the best time to do it, because that is when you're feeling your strongest. So, and because I am, you know, an eating mindset coach, I always say start off your day doing the hardest thing first. And for me, exercise is one of the greatest tools to get those happy chemicals going around your body. So do that first. And the second part of this tip is also having a good breakfast. It sounds so like basic, but honestly, what I mean is, I'm not saying just have breakfast. And I know if you're British, you're home, what's your breakfast? What, cereal? No, I'm not talking about Frosties with some milk or anything like that, or like one of those what they call the biscuit with the sugary thing, like those sugar bars. I'm talking about a really healthy breakfast. So I'm talking about oatmeal or porridge or lots of fruit, and discover all those grains like millet and buckwheat and what else? Oh, we've been playing around as well with like things like pea flakes and quinoa flakes. Play around with the ingredients. So my best suggestion is trying to get to know all these ingredients, because it's so easy to prepare in the morning. If you start your day with a good breakfast, it is also less likely that you'll want to sabotage that as well. So what I mean is, I've tested this out so many times, honestly. Even now, being 9 years, almost 9 years, eating disorder free, and I will never have an eating disorder again. Even now, I find if I don't have a good breakfast, literally I'll be eating crap all day long. It's almost like I'm on autopilot, because I ate crap in the morning. I'm like, oh, I may as well just throw the towel in. And I don't even like do it on purpose. It's just, I don't know why it does that, but I've tested it out. So if you start off with a good breakfast, like a good porridge, the more likely you're not going to want to sabotage it. And I think that is the key. Psychologically, you don't really want to sabotage your hard work. You've done your exercise, you've had a good breakfast first thing. Why would you want to ruin that by eating loads of crap later in the day? And one thing I almost forgot, going for exercise first thing in the morning also kickstarts your metabolism as well. And remember yesterday, yesterday, I can't believe it feels like years ago, but yesterday's video I shared with you what it felt like when I didn't do exercise for 5 days, and when I suffered from an eating disorder. I hope you're not squeamish, but I'm going to be very, very like open at the moment. But when I had an eating disorder, I literally didn't have a poo for 2 weeks. My husband is gonna freak out that I'm like on live with possibly thousands. So luckily enough, I haven't got thousands of people watching, but literally I didn't have a poo for 2 weeks. And then I didn't go for a run for 5 days because I was in Marseille. We had family emergency, and I literally, I was fine the first couple of days, but by the 3rd day my metabolism stopped. It's like, hello. And that's why I started feeling tired and sluggish. So that's another thing as well. It's like really, really good to try and fit that first thing. And I do understand it's not quite easy for everyone, but when I've talked about exercise before, I've said it a million times, I do suggest for people who want to stop comfort eating or binge eating, I'm literally focused on this all the time, is just to minimize the exercise to maximum half an hour, at least 4 to 5 times a week, rather than 1 hour once a week or 1 hour twice a week, because it's kind of building up the momentum. And when you're doing shorter bursts of exercises more frequently, it's easier to get into a habit. And that is the whole point of this whole preventing comfort eating and binge eating series, is to condition your mind to get into a habit. And just doing a little bit of exercise, and I already said this before in lots of videos, just a minimum of just 15 minutes a day is even better than just doing 1 hour once a week. So if you are working, get up an extra half an hour. Honestly, like half an hour. Have you like set your alarm off and it's like literally feels like a minute has gone by and half an hour's gone? Could you imagine all the feelings that you'd have, like setting yourself up for the day if you just got up half an hour just so that you can fit in your 15 minutes exercise? And speed walking is just as good as anything. So that is basically my tip for today, is do the hardest thing first. Just to summarize, do the hardest things first. The reason is because our motivation or willpower, if there is, like if it exists, is the biggest, or it's the strongest first thing in the morning, so it's easier to do it then. Secondly, it will give you all those happy feeling, you know, first thing in the morning to set you up for the day. So you are more likely to have a great day, and I mean staying away from crap food, staying away from doing procrastination. It really, really helps to lift your spirits up anyway. And when it comes to comfort eating, binge eating, it is literally your emotions that are triggering you off to do all those things that you end up regretting anyway. So, and yeah, including with your breakfast. So I hope you found that useful for you, and let me know if you want me to talk about anything else in particular to do with comfort eating or binge eating, or how to stop dieting, or anything to do with, you know, eating really and being happy and finding joy in eating again without dieting. Just let me know, and I'll be happy to do a video for you. So until Sunday night again, oh my word, where's the time going? I will see you lovely people then, and until then, enjoy your weekend, and bye bye.